The lost 90s arcade racer isn't lost anymore. It's actually hiding inside a completely different game, Pelican 13's upcoming brawler Takeover 2, and today ARC is going deep into why this revival might just be the foundation for the return of the Sega-style arcade racer we've been waiting for. If you're looking for an arcade racing happy place, an escape from all the negativity surrounding gaming right now, full of games to actually enjoy and get excited for, then you're in the right place. If you like the vibes, please consider subscribing. Without any hyperbole on my end, Overtake has some of the best arcade racing controls I've personally played to date. It's an exact mix of Scud Race, OutRun 2, and Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing, and if you're familiar with them, then you'll feel right at home here. Scud Race is a fantastic arcade racer, but being brutally honest, the drifting is quite difficult to pull off without massive amounts of practice and can be quite finicky. I'm not all that amazing at it myself, but I've constantly tried improving over the years, to varying degrees of success. OutRun 2006 though, I've got that one down pat. The drifting arc is very similar here in Overtake. The one big divergence is that there is no brake as such, but instead a dedicated drift button, which at its closest analog almost feels like a kart racer. Hold that drift button to drift and use the gas to manage your speed. It feels great, and probably why it reminds me of Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing so much, which I felt the developers Sumo Digital injected some of their OutRun 2 DNA into. It's important to remember that Overtake is a minigame after all, and should remain accessible and fun for everybody playing Takeover 2. The thing is though, all the arcade racing staples are here. Your racing lines are imperative, and trying to avoid losing too much speed when cornering is the name of the game. I've only managed to get to second position out of a 21 strong grid so far, and I've played this one track for well over 4 hours at this point. I know it all comes down to my racing lines. I can literally see first position in sight, and I'm dead set on getting there eventually. The one more go, perfect run feeling is fully at play here. So whilst this might be just a minigame, I'm telling you, all of the building blocks for a real, proper arcade racer are already here. Overtake is way too good and way too accomplished to be relegated to a mere curiosity. Pelican 13 has also seen fit to include some flashy takedowns in the game called wipeouts, but it isn't a focus. You can nudge AI drivers out of the way and gratifyingly into walls, but it's designed so as not to throw you off your racing lines. They're a fun addition, but they don't detract from the racing action. The visuals in Overtake are phenomenal. They use the same assets from that first track of the lost 90s arcade racer pitch, but with a cel shading pass to match the comic book stylings of Takeover 2. While this changes the look a little bit, it still hits that same spot for me. I particularly love the dappled ink effects on sources of light. It looks gorgeous. Now bear in mind, this is running on my Asus ROG Ally X at a straight 1440p docked. So Overtake isn't demanding in the slightest, and the smooth frame rates here just scream 90s arcade. And even with the stylistic changes, the most obvious source of inspiration is still overall Scud Race. The visual style evokes the classic coin-op, and when it comes to the trackside scenery, the large glass aquarium is probably the most striking homage. But the Sega references don't end there. There's some Daytona USA Dinosaur Canyon here too. The audio is absolutely stunning as well. The sound effects are great, but the music, oh boy. The track featured here is one of the best pieces I've heard in an arcade racer for a long time. It captures that upbeat driving energy that defines arcade racing perfectly. Most of us know the story of the 90s arcade racer, but if you don't, here's a quick recap. My own personal take on the whole thing is that the 90s arcade racer was a promising, solo-developed arcade racer by Pelican 13 that smashed its Kickstarter funding well over a decade ago. So promising was the project that it gained the attention of the potentially well-meaning, but perhaps ill-equipped to deliver publisher Nicalis, They took on ownership, it was rebranded as 90s Super GP, Pelican 13 left the project, and it's been in limbo ever since. Pelican 13 didn't just disappear, he worked on his craft and delivered the fantastic Streets of Rage inspired brawler, the Takeover. And now, we're here with Takeover 2 and Overtake. And as for the whole thing, when it comes to the 90s arcade racer, and any disappointing Kickstarter in general, I can understand those burned and left out of pocket by the Kickstarter itself. I missed out on this one in particular, but I was similarly burned by the Drift Stage Kickstarter project, which also fizzled out. Rather than being angry, I was mostly disappointed at the lost potential. But 2026 has seen some tides shifting, and against all odds, Drift Stage is actually back under development. And because I don't like holding on to resentment, I'm personally excited to see where it ends up. And in the interim, we've now seen Pelican 13 bring things full circle with Overtake in Takeover 2. I love to see this kind of arc playing out, starting with Overtake the minigame, and who knows where else this could all potentially lead. Overtake, despite being a minigame in a brawler, is one of the most promising arcade racing developments in years. If you're a Sega arcade racing nut, then I've got no doubt that you will love what's here. As I've said earlier, the base for a true blue arcade racer exists within Overtake, and whether it gets expanded here in Takeover 2 or even leads to a separate spin-off or even another arcade racing game altogether, whatever the case, it's worth holding out hope for and, in my opinion, supporting. Because this is the kind of arcade racer ARC personally loves to see revived. There's something to be said for these smaller in scope, unpretentious coin-op style games. They may not have the track and car count of bigger races, but what's there is meticulously designed, handcrafted, and oozes real flow and replayability. You can play them to death now and then jump back in time and again as the years go by. Not every racer needs to last forever in the now expected live service way, and some of my most replayed arcade races had timeless design but only ever had a handful of cars and tracks. There really is an art to it. Do you think these kind of races coming back would be a breath of fresh air? Do they still have a place in your gaming landscape these days? And now that you've seen a bit more, what do you think of Overtake? I know I'm generally preaching to the choir, but would you be down for a full game in the future? Let me know in the comments below. I reply to everybody and really enjoy the conversations we have here. This video is all the better thanks to my brilliant ARC supporters. A special thanks goes out to ARC Super supporters No More Mercy, Lara Malode, Papa Parkour, and Camille Cura. I hope I said that correctly. Support ARC yourself if you feel so inclined, but I really just appreciate you liking, subbing, sharing, and getting in on those notifications to help me out. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.